Okay. Alright. Wih, cantik dia punya ni. Your head, Putri Muzamil. Saya tengok gambar aja ni. Okay. Alright. Ada echo pula. Okay. Alright. Okay, so this is my first time meeting you all. And probably the last time lah, sebab saya pun nak retire juga ni. I have retired in 2017, and I am now on contract. So I will be serving my contract until April next year. Okay, so you lucky, or whichever way you think of it lah. Lucky ke unlucky ke, that I'm teaching you all this semester. Okay, so what is this course all about? I will introduce that in a short moment. But let me just briefly introduce myself. My name is Spencer Empading Sanggin, and I come from Seratok. Ada orang dari Seratok kat sini?
Ada, Prof.
No.
Ada, Prof.
Mungkin kita pernah jumpa sebelum ini, saya tak tahulah. So saya dari Seratok dan I have been teaching at Unimas since 1994. So that's quite a long time lah. Dan sebelum itu I was teaching at University Putra Malaysia. Then it was called University Pertanian. So all in all, I have been teaching at college or university for more than 30 years. Ya, lebih 30 tahun bekerja dengan university. And I'm happy doing this. I like the job. I have passions for it. So I'm leaving the faculty also later on, feeling satisfied, yeah, more or less, after serving for so many years. All right, so how do I end up teaching this course? Well, actually I've started teaching the course since, I don't know, the year 1999 or 98 or so. And then after a while, somebody else, some other lecturers took over. And then I came back teaching the course again, on and off. Yeah, but I like this course, truly very much like the course, because it deals with issues of concern, yeah, particularly to us in the developing countries. All right, so let me share my notes for the introduction. Okay. Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
Yes,
Prof.
Okay. All right. Let's take a break. That was the point where I'm supposed to stop later on for to start the second session. Okay, so the course is called Development Economics. That's the title of the course, and it is a discipline, by the way. Quite different from when you say economic development. Yeah, economic development is a process. Development economics is a discipline. All right. So, what do we do in this course? This is briefly what we will cover. Yeah, what the synopsis of the course. So basically, the course will throughout the 10-12 weeks or so, yeah, it will discuss issues related to economic development, particularly in the third world countries, in relation to the third world countries. I'll explain later on apa yang masukkan dengan third world countries as well. Tapi kadang-kadang dikenali sebagai developing countries. Ya. So we have developed countries, negara yang maju. We have developing countries, negara yang sedang membangun, ataupun kadang-kadang known as the third world countries. And then we also have another category yang dinamakan sebagai least developed countries, ya, yang sangat kurang membangun lah, more or less. Okay, so we will look at some major development theories. We'll discuss. We cannot be going into very detail, but I will introduce to you some of the theories later on with regard to development, in order for us to understand the process of development. Yeah? And also issues related to international trade and development will also be dealt with in the course. And also how trade and development, or trade rather, in particular international trade, relates to national development policies in a particular country. Okay. And finally, the course will analyze the various socio-economic factors which influence development, as well as examining barriers and challenges faced by many countries of the world, developing countries, in the attempt to achieve faster economic development. So that is the synopsis of the course lah. Ya, itu yang kita akan belajar untuk semester ini. Okay. So the topics to be covered, which you can find, I think I have uploaded on your ELIP page, the course outline, yeah, which you can refer to. And the topics to be covered include, today is the first one, is the introduction. I will share with you some of the concept and scope of development economics. Then next week, hopefully no public holiday lah. Thursday, I will be sharing with you structure, on the structure and characteristics of developing nations or developing countries. And then the third one will be where we will look at some of the development theories and do some kind of comparative analysis of the theories. And by the way, most of these theories are from, or rather adopted from economic theory, actually. Okay, then from then on, we move on to looking into the historic growth, yeah, and some contemporary development that will deal with the topic on economic growth or factors of growth. I'm sorry, yeah, and also poverty and inequality, right? And then we will look at how population growth or population size has an impact on economic development. Okay, and then after that, we will deal with another issue on unemployment and also urbanization in the developing countries. Yeah. We move on then to agriculture transformation, because must remember that in the developing countries, the economic activities of most of the population are still dependent on agriculture. So improvement in agriculture sector has to be emphasized, yeah? And also the need for rural development as well. Okay, and then toward the end, we will look at international trade and finance, trade policy debates, whether or not, for example, we should have export promotion versus import substitutions and all that. Okay, And then the last topic that we will cover will be on balance of payment. Yeah, balance of payment, account negara lah, in other words, yeah. Whether we have enough money in the account, whether we should add in, and how should we do that, and also the issue of third world debt, ya, hutang negara dunia ketiga. Yeah. Okay, so then we will wrap up, the course probably in the 13th or 14th week of the semester nanti lah. Okay, so that is the topics that we are going to cover for the rest of the semester. Okay, I think you may be interested in how are you going to be assessed, ya? Macam mana kamu dinilai untuk kursus ini? Dan basically, as in some of your other courses, we have two types of assessments: continuous and final assessment. Yeah. So the continuous assessment is the assessment that we do continuously throughout the semester. And the final one is the final assessment. And in our case, it will be a final exam, yeah, for the course later on. Okay, so the continuous assessments basically comprise of two parts. Yeah, one is the group written assignment. I will give you your assignment later on as a group. Ya, ini secara kumpulan. So you will have to, otherwise, you will have to form a group of 5 students per group, 5 orang pelajar untuk satu kumpulan. You can form the group, you can choose your own group members, but you have to submit the name to me so that I can enter in the system later on, system elite. Okay, so that is the written part is 20%. And then you will have the midterm exam or quiz, okay, depending on how we carry it out later on. Yeah, it can be quiz ataupun midterm exam. Unstable, sorry, unstable. Let me check ya, mungkin ada salah dengan internet. Sorry. Okay, and then related to the group assignment tadi, there will be a group presentation. So actually the assignment is worth in total about 30%, ya, 30% daripada markah keseluruhannya. Ya, 20% is for the written part and 10% is for the presentation. Sorry about the typing error. Ini, let me correct it. Not sure if I can do it now. Okay, so group presentation and then the final assessment, which is the final exam. Okay, so itulah cara untuk menilai, ya, your performance in the course. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, so the references, which also you can find in the course outline that I have attached earlier on. The main text that I'm going to use is the one by Michael P. Todaro and Stephen Smith, where the title of the book is Economic Development. Let me find the book to you and show you how it looks like. Yeah. If you can see this, I'm not sure if you can see this. Boleh nampak ke?
Yes, a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Okay, that's the one. More or less like this, but this is not the not the latest edition. I think this is the one that I got free copy from the publisher, right? Because I was teaching the course before. So this is the one, Stephen Smith. And this is a cheaper one because this is soft cover. Kalau yang hard cover itu mahal. So this will be the main text that I'm going to use, yeah? All right. Okay, so the other references are also useful, particularly when dealing with specific issues, yeah? Okay, right? For example, Handelman book is so good, The Challenge of the Third World Development. And Yujiro Hayami on development economics, from poverty to the wealth of nations. Also Theodore Moran, Beyond Sweet Shops, nice title. Foreign direct investment, that one has to do with how FDI and foreign direct investment and also globalization in the developing countries. Okay, and the rest also are useful, yeah. Jadi you can, well, I'm not sure how many of you are on campus right now. Tak ada, tidak ada, semua di rumah kan sekarang?
Campus, college.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So those of you who are on campus, you may have the chance to go to the library lah, ya. Ataupun how do they call it now? Petre. Okay, so you can look at the books. Most of these books probably are on the red, apa nama? Red collection, apa nama dia? Limited copies, yeah. But you can borrow it there, yeah, for a few hours. Right. Okay, this is the one actually. This is the 11th edition of the book. Okay. So I'm going to start by referring to the book, start the introduction today, right? Economic Development by Michael P. Tudaro and Stephen Smith. All right, so any question before I start the lecture proper?
No, I guess.
Okay, nothing to ask yet, yeah? Okay, all right. Okay, so I will introduce the course, yeah, from now, what economic development is all about. Okay, so let's look at some, if I can, okay, how the other half, in other words, the other half are the poor people live, yeah. For example, this is statement or quotation from a woman in Uganda. Yeah, dia kata, when one is poor, she has no say in public, and therefore she also feels inferior. She has no food, so there is famine in her house, no clothing, and no progress in her family. And that's how she described, yeah, of being poor. Okay. And then another one from Moldova, who is a blind woman, right? This is what she says. For a poor person, everything is terrible. Everything is terrible. Illness, humiliation, shame, yeah. We are cripples, dia kata. We are afraid of everything. We depend on everyone, and no one needs us. We are like garbage, macam sampah lah, that everyone wants to get rid of. Right? That's one statement from Tiraspol, Moldova. And another one, this is from one of the participants in a discussion group from Ethiopia. Ethiopia, pronunciation of that. This is what she says. Life in the area is so precarious, susah ya, sangat susah, that the youth and every able person have to migrate. Jadi disebabkan oleh keadaan yang teruk, keadaan yang cukup apa namanya menyusahkan, very difficult, to deal with, ya, keadaan yang sangat teruk lah. So almost all the youth and every able-bodied person have to migrate to the towns or they join the army. Jadi ada dua pilihan. Sama ada migrate to the city or join the army. Because when you join the army, you get paid, you get salary, at the war front in order to escape the hazards of hunger escalating over here. Jadi all this kenyataan ini mencerminkan keadaan yang dialami di beberapa buah negara, ya, di dunia ini, khasnya di negara yang kurang membangun, ya. Okay, another one. This is from a young man in Nichimichi, Zambia. Dia kata when food was in abundance, relatives used to share it. Masa dulu bekalan makanan banyak, jadi kita berkongsikan makanan tersebut. Kata, These days of hunger, sekarang ini waktu days of hunger, kelaparan. However, not even relatives would help you by giving you some food. Itu keadaan yang sudah berubah, di negara tersebut, because food are limited, so what they used to share before, now they don't do anymore. Okay, and then another one, we have to line up for hours before it is our turn to draw water. Ini masalah dengan air, di dunia ini ada kawasan-kawasan tertentu, termasuk juga in some of our, I think our community in Malaysia, di Sarawak, Sabah, sebagainya, mungkin ataupun di Semenanjung, mungkin ada tempat-tempat tertentu yang tidak mendapat bekalan air bersih. Okay, but it's worse in some of these areas. I mean, in other countries, of course. And then in Brazil, based on a group discussion, mereka mengatakan bahawa poverty is low salaries and lack of jobs. Tidak ada pekerjaan, kalau ada pekerjaan pun gajinya rendah. And it's also not having medicine, tidak mendapat ubat-ubatan, food or clothes, so because they cannot afford it, to get the supplies and all that. Okay, another one, poor man from Kenya who said, "Don't ask me what poverty is because you have met it outside my house." Jadi kamu dah lihat dan nampak dengan mata sendiri apa yang saya alami, itulah kemiskinan, kata, Look at the house and count the number of holes. Number of holes, Mungkin on the roof, mungkin ada lubang-lubang. That at night you can see the stars and all that. Okay, so that is a reflection ataupun apa yang dia kata, that what you see is what poverty is, in us. Look at the utensils, and clothes that I'm wearing. Dia kata, look at everything and write what you see. What you see is poverty. Jadi keadaan yang dialami oleh seseorang itu, pakaiannya, alat untuk memasak dan sebagainya, all those reflects poverty in his situation. Okay, so there is a universal theme, which are reflected in these quotes, 7 of the quotes here, quotations ini, is that poverty is more than the lack of income. Ya, lebih daripada kekurangan pendapatan. Ya, it is inherently multidimensional. Multidimensional maksudnya ianya mempunyai beberapa dimensi. Contohnya rumah, apalagi bakalan air, the environment, and so on. Jadi, so it is multidimensional, sama juga dengan isu economic development juga adalah multidimensional. Bukan economic development bukan sahaja melihat kepada apa nama meningkatkan pendapatan sahaja, tetapi perkara-perkara lain perlu diambil kira juga. So that is what is important about economic development. Okay, so those that gives you some ideas about the problems that many people in the world are facing. Yeah, so this course is actually focusing on the problems of the developing countries, this poor, this other half they call it, yeah, the other half of the world, okay? The poor countries of the world. Ini termasuk negara kita di Malaysia, yeah, some parts of our country, and isunya sangat-sangat berkaitan dengan apa yang berlaku di negara kita juga. Okay. I couldn't see the one at the top here. All right. So next is some of the features of the poor in developing countries. So when people talk about being poor, yeah, it's talking about, of course, poverty. Yeah. So poverty is hunger. So when you are facing poverty, when you are in a situation where you are poor, yeah, it means hunger, yeah, kelaparan, lack of shelter, yeah, tidak ada tempat tinggal, tetapi keadaannya tak baik, ya. Some living in sheds, kawasan setinggan dan sebagainya. I share with you some of the pictures later on. Poverty is also being sick and not being able to see a doctor. Kenapa tak dapat tengok doktor? Sebab macam-macam reasons. One of which is because you don't have money to pay for the service, ataupun setengah-setengah apa nama tempat tinggal tu sangat-sangat jauh daripada kawasan bandar di mana ada doktor, ada klinik kesihatan sebagainya. That reminds me of documentary di apa nama ni, hold on if I can remember. I think this is Nepal. Nepal tu dekat India, ke atas lah. Where these people live in a very remote area, di kawasan pegunungan, ya, Himalayas. And it took them a week just to go down to the city, yeah, to get the supplies and so on. Okay, so that's how difficult it is, that kind of situation. So to get that kind of service, yeah, when you're sick, you have to depend on cara-cara lain lah, yeah, instead of seeing a doctor and so on. So poverty is not having, for example, another aspect of poverty is you don't have access to school and not knowing how to read and write. Yeah? That's also part of poverty. Not having a job, unemployed, fear for the future, and living one day at a time. Jadi you live from day to day lah. You don't know. Today you may live, tomorrow you don't know if you have food or something like that. Yeah. Jadi that kind of fear. Yeah. So you live from day to day. We know there is apa namanya, There's a saying in Malay lah, yeah, kais pagi makan pagi, that kind of situation, yeah. Poverty is also losing a child to illness brought about by unclean water, unclean environment, right? So you live in a place ataupun environment where the apa nama ni, makanan air bersih pun tidak ada, and so on. Ya. Poverty is also about powerlessness. Tidak ada kuasa. Ya. Lack of representation. Tidak ada yang apa nama yang mewakili mereka. And then lack of freedom as well. Ya. Tidak ada kebebasan. So this is how some people describe the situation of being poor, yeah, miskin lah. Yeah. When we deal with that topic later on, towards the second half of the semester nanti kita akan membincangkan tajuk tentang kemiskinan dan ketidaksamaan, ya, poverty and inequality. Okay, moving on. Yeah, economics and development studies. What is the nature of development economics? For development economics, this is different from the traditional neoclassical economics ataupun political economy, ya, in terms of scope. Scope-nya lebih luas, ya. Kalau political economy, then you're talking about how the apa nama itu, the wealth, the distribution of wealth in the countries are being decided. Yeah. The economics per se is just thinking about how do you menggunakan sumber-sumber yang ada untuk meningkatkan pertumbuhan ekonomi ataupun pendapatan sebuah negara. But development economics is more broader, yeah, in that sense. Yeah. So why study development economics? By the way, yeah, the discipline of development economics ini merupakan sesuatu yang agak baru lah, ya, kalau dibandingkan dengan bidang ekonomi yang lain, dengan disiplin yang lain. Actually, development economics timbul ataupun muncul in the 1950s onwards. Sebelum itu tidak ada development economics as a discipline, right? Sebabnya adalah this time people realize that the development in the third world countries is different from the development in the already developed countries. Yeah? Jadi, so they have to come up with or looking at it from a different perspective, yeah, and study why developments are slow in developing countries, what factors contribute to that, and so on. Yeah. Jadi itulah yang sebabnya muncul ataupun timbul the new discipline called development economy. Okay, some of the critical questions include, yeah, what is the real meaning of development? Apa yang dimaksudkan dengan pembangunan? Dan how can we develop a better understanding of the process of development? Okay, this is one of the critical questions, important question in development economics. What is the meaning of development? It may differ from one person to another, but in Western countries it means different thing, but in developing countries it could mean different thing as well. How do we try to understand better the process of development? Sorry. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay, second question. What are the sources of growth? Apakah sumber-sumber pertumbuhan ekonomi? And why do some countries develop rapidly whereas others lag behind? Jadi, mengapa setengah negara agak lambat ya dari segi pembangunannya dan kalau dibandingkan dengan negara-negara lain? Is development internal or externally induced phenomena? Maksudnya apakah pembangunan itu merupakan sesuatu yang initiated ataupun induced from outside of the country ataupun within the country? Okay, apakah yang menyebabkan contohnya kurangnya pembangunan ataupun berlakunya pembangunan di sebuah negara? Is it because of external forces or is it because of internal factors? What can be learned? This is a long one, brother. What can be learned from the historic process of development by the developed countries? Itu sama ada apa yang berlaku ataupun yang telah dilalui oleh negara yang sudah membangun, sama ada negara-negara yang masih ataupun sedang membangun boleh belajar daripada proses tersebut, ya, ataupun apa yang sedang sudah dilalui oleh negara yang sudah membangun. Whether it is helpful ataupun boleh negara yang sekarang boleh mengikuti step ataupun langkah yang sama. So how similar different conditions are in less developed countries in comparison to developed countries when they started the process of development? Jadi, we will deal with this question later on. Yeah, there's a topic on the historic growth ataupun dalam tadi saya tayangkan topik tadi yang berkaitan dengan historical growth. Dan sama ada apa yang telah berlaku ataupun dilakukan oleh negara yang maju boleh dibuat sebagai contoh, ya, diikuti oleh negara yang sedang membangun. What else? Satu perkara lagi adalah berkaitan dengan peranan wanita, ya. Kerana if you look at the population in the world, 50% of the population are more or less are made up of women. So we have to recognize, we have to take into account the role of women, yeah, in the process of development. Okay, jadi perlu memberi peluang kepada kaum wanita dalam proses-proses pembangunan. Ini termasuklah contohnya dalam education, in employment, and so on and so forth. Yeah? So how can the role in economic processes be improved? What is the impact of rural? This one is a topic later on lah. Jadi soalannya, apakah ada kesan pertumbuhan populasi yang sangat cepat di setengah negara, most of this in Africa, for example, di mana pertumbuhan populasi itu sangat tinggi rate-nya, kadarnya, and what impact does it has on the process of economic growth and development. Then what are the causes of extreme poverty and what policies are most effective to solve that problem, yeah, improving the extremely poor community or sector of the population. Okay, what is the impact of poor health on the process development? Now, if you look at my the course outline, I did not include on the topic on health, yeah. Tetapi kalau kita ada masa nanti, if we do have time, I will highlight some of the important issues on health and also human capital as well. Yeah, kalau ada masalah. What else? There's so many questions here. Issues of employment. What are the causes of employment in developing countries? What is the connection between agriculture and development? Is agriculture the way to go, ataupun how do we change? Yeah, how do we develop the agriculture sector so that it can contribute to the development of the state or nation? What is the link between ecology and development? Jadi mungkin kamu I think this year you'll be taking course on environmental apa nama ni? I forgot the name of the course. Ada kaitan dengan environment. So you probably come across topics related to ecology and development nantilah. And issue of trade, does expanded international trade work in favor of developing countries ataupun tidak? Kadang perdagangan ini menguntungkan negara-negara tertentu, negara yang besar, negara yang kaya, dan negara yang kecil yang who has less power and over dependence on raw materials, ataupun primary products untuk ekspor tu kadang-kadang at the mercy of the developed countries, the trade partner tadi, Okay, whether or not developing countries should protect local industry and so on. We'll deal with that. Should primary products be exported or should they be processed? Ini pilihan. Sebab setengah negara hanya menjual ataupun trading ke primary products, contohnya timber, oil palm dan sebagainya, ataupun macam-macam lagi lah primary product, ataupun minyak mentah dan sebagainya, ataupun kita negara tersebut memproses produk tersebut dan menjual manufactured product. So that in terms of value added, adakah ianya lebih baik kepada sebuah negara? Adakah negara tersebut mampu untuk membuatnya juga? So these are critical questions you need to ask. And how can developing countries resolve their serious debt issues? Jadi setengah negara sekarang ini masih lagi bergantung kepada pinjaman daripada negara yang sudah maju, dari World Bank dan sebagainya, dan kadang-kadang pinjaman itu tidak dapat ataupun projek-projek pembangunan itu tidak menghasilkan pendapatan seperti yang dijangkakan. Failed project, for example, tidak berjaya. Jadi khasnya, particularly those project which are hasil daripada pinjaman, itu even more critical because you have to pay the loan, So if the project is not successful, maka there is no money to pay back for the loan. Jadi itu yang menyebabkan some of these poor countries remain dalam keadaan berhutang, sama ada dengan negara maju ataupun dengan World Bank dan sebagainya. Okay, this one I think I mentioned. How should developing countries protect local industry? What impacts does IMF and World Bank have on developing third world countries? Okay, what role they play? Investment, multinational corporation and investment in developing countries. Who gains from that process? Adakah negara kurang membangun mendapat keuntungan ataupun ianya lebih kepada investor who comes from the developed countries. Also globalization, I share with you some videos on this later on the impact of globalization on poor countries, right? Impact of foreign aid on developing nations. These are important questions, which you may want to take as as part of your assignment actually, ya, sebagai topik untuk kerja kumpulan, right? For your assignment. Free market economy, privatization dan sebagainya. Why do developing countries have such poor development policies? Mengapa? How did it come about? Banyaknya soalan ni. What is the impact of fiscal and monetary policies in development? Ya, jadi polisi ini dibuat oleh mereka yang berkuasa di dalam sebuah negara. So kalau polisi itu baik ataupun betul, menguntungkan rakyat sebagainya, tak ada masalah lah. Tetapi kalau sebaliknya hanya memberi keuntungan kepada sebahagian kecil dari penduduk situ, mungkin ianya tak berapa baiklah dari segi polisi tersebut. How do you spend? Well, how much do you spend and where do you spend the money and so on? Yeah. North Korea, for example, is a third world country. Tapi dia punya emphasis sekarang ni, dia punya concern is how to build dia punya military. Jadi military budgetnya sangat besar sehingga menjejaskan kehidupan rakyat biasa di negara North Korea, for example. So banyak yang miskin. Tapi whatever money they have, they spend more on military. What are the reasons for extreme differences in income between rich and poor countries? Jadi mungkin beberapa soalan tu kita akan address lah in the course in this semester, but not all of this question will be answered, ataupun akan dilihat secara detail dalam course ini. Okay. So, what is this map? Ini menunjukkan negara-negara yang kurang membangun. Okay, the countries in black contains 50% of the world population. Ya, ini tentang this is about world distribution of population. So negara yang berwarna hitam itu merupakan negara yang kaya sebenarnya, rich countries, but they don't have that big population, right? And by the way, this is an old map lah. Ada yang telah berubah. Okay? Contohnya China telah berubah, but the population is still large lah. But in terms of its economy, it has improved greatly, sehingga sekarang ini negara China adalah merupakan negara nombor 2 dari segi ekonomi, size of its economy sekarang ini. Second oleh itu di United States. So so these countries in black ini 50% of population but produce 50% of the world gross domestic product, kekayaan dunia. 50% daripada kekayaan dunia comes from these countries. And the countries in dark gray, yang inilah, di Afrika dan juga India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, China, Vietnam. I'm sorry, not Vietnam. Vietnam sini. Then yang dulu merupakan di mana 50% pada populasi berada, 50% the world population are in these countries, but they produce less than 15% of the world GDP. Ini telah berubah sekarang ini. I'm quite sure this was in 2001. But other countries except for China, other countries are still very much poor. Okay. Right. So in terms of distribution of income globally, ini boleh kita lihat di sini.
Excuse me, Prof. Sorry for interruption.
Sure.
There's 2 to 4 students can enter our class because of limitation of the Zoom participants.
Excuse me, apa sebabnya?
There's 2 to 4 students can enter our class because of limitation of the Zoom participants.
Oh, they cannot enter, is it?
Yes, the Zoom only limit to 100%.
Ah, okay. I thought the Zoom allow me to sampai 300 orang. Okay, I'll check on that later on. Can I know this ada student ke yang nak masuk tadi? How many students are there altogether? Do you know?
I guess there's around 105 if there's no senior that repeat this course.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. That's a problem, isn't it? Limit it to 100. I'm supposed to have this. I will complain to the provider later on. I'm not. It's not supposed to be limited to 100. It should be the one that I subscribe is where the number can go up to 300. But yeah, and I can use it for unlimited time. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. But I will resolve this later on. Okay. Thank you. Siapa tadi?
Rubiana here.
Okay. Thank you, Rubiana. All right. Let me go on. I try to resolve that later on lah. Kejap lagi ya. I'll take a break later on. So global distribution of income. Ini kalau kita lihat di sini. But then again, this is influenced by the size of population as well. In 1988, this is a long time ago, okay? Di mana kebanyakan negara yang ataupun population yang miskin adalah di negara seperti China, India, and other Asian countries, right? And where the income per year on average is about 460 below 460 a year, US dollar per year. Okay, and then this is the developed countries over here. Tapi sekarang ini, as you can see here, in 2011 banyak yang telah berubah. Ya, India pun telah berubah, income level telah meningkat. Other Asian countries also has changed. Yeah, less poverty, but particularly if you look at this, if you look at China alone, it has solved that problem. Ya, masalah kemiskinan itu telah berubah. Ya, only small portion, tapi ramailah dari segi absolute number-nya masih ramai. But I'm talking about the proportion of Chinese population who are poor sekarang ini setelah banyak berubah, telah mendapat pendapatan yang tinggi. Okay, so Asian countries, including China, and are moving towards the developed countries punya status. Yeah. Okay, so itu I just want you to be aware of this. What happened in 1990s, 1980s is now changed, yeah. So in many of these countries as well. Okay, this one is the GDP per capita, income per capita lah maksudnya ya. Jadi saya hendak menunjukkan where are these countries located, ya, negara yang kaya ni, where the income is very high per capita. US, Western Europe, yeah, and Australia, New Zealand, Japan. These are high-income countries, and the poor countries are, this is in yellow and light color. These are mostly in the African continent, ya, African continent. Ya, termasuk juga di apa nama di India, hold on, ini apa negara ni? Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and so on. Yeah, Myanmar here. Plus this, you notice this one, the yellow here, that is North Korea, right? North Korea. So where the income per capita is very low, less than 500 or 500 to 1,000 kalau ada setahun untuk seorang. Okay. Slide berapa? Kejap, saya cek dulu. Slide satu. I think I may, yeah, just a little bit more before we take a break. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the economics and development studies. The economics is also considered as a social system, right? In other words, there is a need to go beyond simple economics, simple supply and demand, right? So as a social system, there is this concern about the interdependent relationship between economic and non-economic factors. Ada faktor non-economic which influence the economic growth of a particular country. So it becomes a social system. Jadi benda-benda macam schools, levels of education, even religion too, yeah, does have an impact on the economic development of a country. So success or failure of development policy, yeah, also depends on many factors as well, yeah, on the social system as well. The importance of taking into account of the institutional and also structural variables along with more traditional economic variables. The structure of the society, for example, yeah. The institutions in the country has an influence, yeah, on the growth, on the development policy, yeah. All right. So the economic factors of growth adalah seperti capital, yaitu modal, labor, tenaga kerja, sumber natural resources, technology, very important, yeah, for economic growth, and also market, of course, yeah, established markets as well, yeah. Market for labor, market for financials, and also goods. Yeah. The non-economic factors, as I said, is also playing a very important role, termasuk institusi, social values, dan sebagainya. Sebagai contoh, ya, attitudes toward life and work is an example of non-economic factors. Ya, public and private structures yang ada di negara tersebut, ya, private sectors participation in development, ya, dan sebagainya. Cultural traditions, and this you can see lah sebenarnya ini what is happening perhaps in some parts of the world, termasuk Afghanistan, Pakistan dan sebagainya, and some other countries, ya, yang mungkin sekarang ini sangat dikenali di dunia lah because of the media yang menunjukkan apa yang berlaku. So that also has influence on economic growth. System of land tenure, yeah, land tenure system property rights juga akan mempunyai kesan ya terhadap pembangunan. Kita akan bincang nanti ya. Also government agencies, the integrity of the government agencies as well. So all these are the non-economic factors yang mempunyai pengaruh ataupun can influence or combined with the economic factors that determines the economic growth and economic development in a country. Okay, so we'll stop here. I don't know if I can do it today immediately, but I try to resolve the problem. So we take a break for 5 minutes, okay? Jadi kita kembali nanti. Thank you very much. I'll see you again. So I stop the share sekarang ini and stop the recording as well.